Hey everyone, I am finally doing my review of Reeve knives. I have here the large Sebenza in my card with my Carta inlays, the small Sebenza also with my Carta inlays. I have my Umnumzaan over here, and then my tie lock. You've already seen, I've already done a review, so I just have it out here for some size comparisons later on in this review. So overall, this is just going to be some impressions that I have of these three knives, and maybe I'll throw in a little bit of stuff on this tie lock here. Um, but overall, length, quick specs and stuff like that, rundown. This is a 3.625. 3.625 inch blade on the large Sebenza. This is a 2.95 inch blade on the small Sebenza, and then here on the Umnumzaan, I believe is a 3.75 inch blade. Don't quote me on that though, but it's very 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 close to the large Sebenza. In fact, I don't even know if it's any larger or sometimes I feel like it's smaller. So anyway. I've gone through a number of Sebenzas over my collecting time, and I started out, my very first Sebenza was the large plain Sebenza, and I thought it was just an awesome blade. But with the titanium scales and everything like that, I wanted to keep it fresh so I could resell it. Eventually, I did sell it, or traded it actually, and I've also gone through 3 or 4 small Sebenzas over some time. And ultimately, in the end, I wanted to get the micarta inlay ones, both for the aesthetics and also because of the grip. And I just really, really like the micarta against the titanium scales. So these two knives in particular, these have the S35 VN blades. This one I've switched out with hardware, so I have the blue thumb studs as well as the blue spacer. Normally the micarta Sebenzas have the silver hardware. Overall, just my impression of these knives. I think the Sebenza is, I don't know, man. It's the peak. It's the zenith of production. Semi-custom production knives. It's finish wise and everything like that is better than any Spyderco that I've ever collected. It's better than all the Emersons that I've collected. It's better than the Striders that I've collected. It's better than my only custom, my Martin. It's better than Benchmade that I've collected. You've got absolutely. There's just no room for even if I were to unscrew this pivot here, it still doesn't wiggle. I mean, that's how how tight all the tolerances are on these knives. And the Sebenza, I think, is one of those knives that just gets better and better with age. It gets just more and more. It just gets smoother and smoother. Really, is what it is. The first time I played with the Sebenza, I thought it was a tank. I just thought it was really uncomfortable, and it just hurt my thumb to deploy. And now it's just like, this is my smoothest knife that I own, and I'm not trying to kiss Chris Reeve's butt or anything like that. It is what it is. These knives are just above and beyond anything that I've any other knife that I've played with. And for the Sebenza, you've probably seen takedowns of these knives. You know that it's got that special little bushing inside the pivot, that sits inside the blade, so that so the blade, you can tighten down this pivot, and it's never going to affect the tightness of the blade. But even when you're thinking about tolerances, when I got my Umnumzaan, this knife doesn't have that pivot bushing thing. This is just 2 screws. It's got a large bolt, and then the screw goes in there, so it does have a large bolt head inside here. And this one, if you do tighten down too much, it's going to get tight. But even this one, when it's screwed down and at a good level, this is, the tolerances on this knife, that you get the sense of like Chris Reeves, like craftsmanship and all that kind of stuff. Like with my Emersons, here's my CQC 15. If I tighten this, a little bit too much, it's either going to be really hard to deploy, or it's going to, go off centered, or it's going to, there's going to be some issue. So I feel like the pivot has to be perfect. But with the Umnumzaan and the Sebenza and tie lock and all that stuff, with the tolerances, there's just there's no issue. I mean, you put this in and it's perfectly centered. I don't have to spend more than a couple seconds, thinking about how tight I want the pivot to be. Especially the Sebenza, I can just like lock it down and it's gonna be completely fine. Fit. In terms of the fit and finish, Chris Reeve, I just can't be topped. I don't know of any people that really complain about the fit and finish of the Sebenza. I think they only complain maybe about the price, which I can understand. You get what you pay for is what they say. So pocket clip as well. I think this is one of the simplest looking pocket clips, but maybe one of the most well done pocket clips. It's got the double security here. It's got a little kink right here, and it's got the kink right there. So it's going to sit inside of your pocket and fit really well against the titanium. It's really, really smooth. Kind of just sits within this little divot right here, and you kind of just screw it down with this hex wrench that they include in their packaging. So again, when you compare the Sebenzas and the Umnumzaan together, they're just really thin profile knives, and they just fit inside your pocket so well. There's never any issue about these fitting in your pocket or just hiding away in your pocket. There's no real bells and whistles when it comes to titanium frame locks. It's just simplicity. The art is in the simplicity. And the blade shape with the hollow grind and everything makes for great slicing. With the standard stock of 1.25, the Umnumzaan is a little bit thicker, maybe like 1.35, 1.45 or something like that. Blade stock, they're very strong blades. Even though it tapers down to a tip here, they're still extremely strong blades, and you're not going to pry with Sebenza or anything like that. But I would say for everyday carry, there is, I don't know if there's a knife that is better than this. This is the apex of my collection for sure. I have a Strider SMF and all that stuff, but that's not an EDC type knife. This one's going to fit in your pocket. It's going to go in dress slacks. It's going to go in jeans. It's going to go in khakis. It's wherever you want it, it's going to fit in there, and it's going to look good, and it's going to work perfectly. This one is just a slightly meaner looking blade, a little bit more utilitarian. And with the grip of the G10, or I'm sorry, with the cutouts here on the titanium, it's this is just an awesome blade. Slightly thicker titanium scales and that kind of stuff, but overall, the Umnumzaan here and the Sebenzas are some of the best knives that I've ever collected. I'm getting into Emersons and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know if I would ever get rid of these two knives in particular, just because I like the large to medium blades. The small Sebenza and tie lock are a little bit small for my liking, but as a gentleman's carry or something like that, I like having these as backups. But these might go up for sale in the near future. But these two knives, I can't imagine ever going anywhere. So these two are definitely my grails. I know recently I said my CQC 15 might be my new everyday carry knife or whatever, but the Sebenza and the Umnumzaan are ones that I'll always have in my collection, I think, without a doubt. So anyway, that's a quick rundown, overview, just some of my feelings of the Chris Reeve line of folders that I have. So yeah, these are some of my favorite knives of all time. Alright, thanks, hope you enjoy, and you guys take care. Bye.